Jack Hermansson, Chris Curtis, a bit of a frustrating one for Curtis. I know he was incredibly frustrated, but I mean, it was the game that Hermansson was going to play. You know, he's awkward. He's got weird timing. I thought his striking output was quite impressive. If I remember correctly, he's the one that landed the most strikes out of all the fights. Yeah, he was the only person that hit 100 significant strikes in the whole event. The next closest was Nathaniel Wood at 97. A really good output from Hermansson. I would have liked to have seen him try and grapple a bit more, especially earlier on in the fight when they were both dry. We know how good his neck attacks are. But overall, you know, he did what he needed to do. He's holding steady in the division. He's lost a bit of consistency, and of course, that's something that he needs to get back. And I still think this fight's for Chris Curtis out there. I said it before this fight. I would love to see him fight Kelvin Gastelum. I think that would be an absolute banger. Paul Craig's fight was a weird one. Paul's a very, very skilled fighter, but the way that he fights is, and I think one of the commentators referred to it as a throwback style. The reason why they say that is because, you know, you go back to Royce Gracie times, he was fighting off of his back. He was using jiu-jitsu to submit people, but that was partly down to necessity because he was not as big as the people that he was fighting. My understanding of Gracie jiu-jitsu, of guard playing, is that it's always the secondary plan. You always want a primary game. You don't want to walk out and lay down. You know, you want to put people in a position where they have to deal with you being oppressive in top position. I mean, again, this is just my perspective, and I do want to kind of discuss this with you today because I'm interested to hear people's thoughts. I feel like Paul needs to build out the primary aspects of his game. His striking has definitely gotten better. That was a definite improvement I saw. And definitely confidence. And I think if he watches the fight back, he'll realise how much success he was having and how well he was landing. If he adds in an offensive wrestling game and he can force people to the floor, then he's going to be really, really problematic. As soon as people are able to shut down that pull to the ground style that he has, I don't know, it starts for me to look like he's becoming defeated even when he's not. It's a challenge, you know, if you're a counter striker, generally you're on the back foot and you're moving away, and you've got to be a lot more impressive with your counter striking than the person moving forward and throwing more wild punches. It's just the nature of judging. It's, you know, you have to have a really good judge that understands the back and forth of striking and the space control to understand that, you know, you can be backing up and counter striking and winning the fight and having octagon control. You don't necessarily have to be moving forward. It can be the same on the ground. You know, some fighters are really offensive off their back. But I always would want, especially one of my fighters, I would want them to have the ability to physically force you into positions that you don't want to be. That for me is the aspect of mixed martial arts that has taken precedence in the last few years. Like the style that Royce Gracie had, the kind of like a plan B style, like I can't physically do that to you, I'm going to do this instead. It's like a fallback plan. And I just don't think it just doesn't look very dominant. I feel like Paul could add a few things to his game that would make him really, really problematic. And I think it also gives his opponents confidence when he starts to, you know, pull guard and dive for ankles and they're able to get free. You know, each time he gets back up off the canvas, to me that would build confidence if I was his opponent. Just you know, my personal thought, but it's very, very difficult to win a fight with that kind of style. And I think, you know, the likes of Ankalaev, who, you know, beat him for nearly 15 minutes. Like that's the kind of start. Like I think if they fought each other 10 times, I think Ankalaev would probably do that to him every time. And there's one time he's going to get snagged in a triangle in the last minute. I just don't think it happens very often. And I think all the time while Paul's on his back trying to fight off his back, in the judge's eyes, he's losing because he's not got top position. It's a very difficult style to impress with. Very disappointing for Tom Aspinall, of course, to have only got, you know, 15 or so seconds out of his main event in this one. But it was good to see him having a beer with each other afterwards in their hotel room. Both real nice guys, and I'm sure that either this fight could be rematched again in the future or their paths will cross on the way back to the title. But the silver lining is that we've got Paddy Pimblett, and I think you could pretty much build an event around him already. You know, you think about Conor McGregor when he fought Brandao in Dublin, one of the wildest, most chaotic of events that you could have ever gone to. I think if you put Paddy in an arena in or around Liverpool that's within striking distance of that city, it would be absolute bedlam. It would be brilliant. Molly would be on the card as well. You know, you look down the rest of that next generation roster, and you know you've got guys like Nathan Fletcher, you've got Adam Cullen. You know, really strong fighters all the way down that card. Luke Riley, a kid that weighed in this weekend for Cage Warriors and didn't get the opportunity to compete. Very disappointing. Another real strong talent. You could build a card out. I mean, that could literally be, it could literally be like a next generation defending home kind of card. It would be spectacular. The crowd they would bring in would be intense. And then, you know, on the other side of town, you've got Cowbon as well, and they've got great fighters. There's a lot of gyms within the area. It would be a really good thing, and I think Paddy could definitely carry that, especially if Tom Aspinall's going to be away, and we also don't know what's going on with Darren Till either, and when, you know, how long he's going to be out. But we've got a guy that can carry main event positions in the UK here with Paddy Pimblett. Really, really excited for him.